Hello, everyone, and welcome back to day number 3 of Stage 2 PELC promos. My name's Esquire, your commentator for this tournament. And what a tournament it has been so far, not just stage number 1, but also the first 2 days of stage number 2 included. As things currently stand at the top of the leaderboards, it's going to be the Istanbul Wildcats, 74 points having been accumulated so far throughout the first 2 days of play. 8 games have been played out so far. Fight Club going to be sitting in second place position with 72 points. Tony Team, 67 points. ADR Farmers, 65 points. And from there, it trickles on down. Top 9 is where you are going to want to find yourself at the conclusion of this 4-day tournament to be able to propel your team into the PELC Phase 1 of 2020. It's certainly a tall task for a lot of these teams. It's not going to be easy. This lobby has proved itself to be fairly competitive. And in that competition, it's actually kind of funny as well. The 2 top kill leaders for teams are actually tied at 47 kills. It's Fight Club and the ADR Farmers. Now, those names seem to imply, yes, that sure enough, those squads are going to be fairly aggressive, and that they are. But the Istanbul Wildcats have been able to push past all of the rest, even by a narrow margin. They still will be leading in first place position. Some teams have had a little bit more difficult of a second day. We saw some big slips on the leaderboards by a few squads. Brute Force going to be one in particular. They led the lobby going into day number 2, but have fallen down into 7th place. And if you look at the leaderboards, the point totals in between 9th place position and some of the teams sitting in 10th and 11th, as you get down to 12th and further, it certainly becomes not outside of the realm of possibilities, but still going to be doable, just a little bit harder. Still going to be doable, though. And that puts a little bit of fear into some of these teams sitting on the cusp of falling out of those top 9 positions. We'll see how things go, though. 4 games to be played out here today before we break into the final day, day number 4 tomorrow. The map schedule for today should be fairly consistent to what we saw on day number 1, where we switch back to the Sanhok, Miramar, and then double Erangel to end out the day. Few other squads have been fairly aggressive in these matches, and I feel like where we see them on the leaderboards doesn't really indicate the type of performance they're capable of, or have even shown us at various times of the tournament so far. Level, definitely one of those squads that capitalizes heavily on their Sanhok positioning early on, landing in Pynon. Boris and Hakkapeliittas have also been fairly aggressive and pick up quite a bit of kills. However, it's just not able to transition into significant points comboed with leaderboard points. Hope you guys are all having a good start to your week here. It's been a long week for competitive PUBG for the PELC promos. Some of these teams have been playing for, what is this, the 7th day now, with only 1 day off for 4 games a day. So the mental fortitude will certainly become an issue as we continue on through this tournament. Point totals for how things are going to be awarded. If you've been watching throughout the year for competitive PUBG, you know this system. But if you don't, here it is for you right now. Only the top 8 get rewarded with points. First place going to be taking away the lion's share with 10 points for a chicken dinner. As we break into match number 9 of stage 2, day number 3, yes, game number 1. The plane is in the air. The teams are up in the cargo hold and will be thrown across the map of Sanhok to find those primary loot locations and hopefully find some success here in a map where, at least traditionally throughout this phase, it's been hard to do so. Positioning plays a huge factor in it. And so does calculated risk in terms of weighing the circles. Plane, though, coming out of the southeastern corner of Sanhok, will be soaring up towards the northeast. Not going to be too favored up towards the west or even the central part of Sanhok, which doesn't necessarily pose too big of a problem given the 4x4 kilometer size of the jungle. Most teams will be able to still find their primary loot locations without having to take too much time in doing so. With that, all of our players have been kicked out of the cargo hold. One of the members of Brute Force going to be split off from the rest of the team at the conclusion of the flight path near the members of Royalty over in Tadmonk and Cal. Quickly making a shift off of that. I'm not sure what happened there, but definitely a move for Hawk to get out of dodge as fast as possible. Istanbul Wildcats going to be holding on to that very centralized, powerful position of boot camp, uncontested in phase 1 pops. I believe we saw this circle yesterday, maybe. Seppi rather, having a bit of a mistake there to kick off the game. But yes, phase 1 going to be all the way up here towards the northeast. Given the fact that the plane path was favored over towards the east, we saw a lot of teams stay on the main island. A few teams going to be pushing over to the far southwest. Will have the most difficult transition here in phase number 1. Unlucky. Unlucky first blood. Unlucky for the members of Royalty. Continuing on, though, as we have seen these Sanhok games become very aggressive between these teams, a lot of third-party action, as expected, has been popping off. Even fourth-party action as well. If you recall yesterday, we had the Preachers pushing up onto Boris. They immediately got capitalized on by the third-party presence of another squad, and it just kind of goes to show the necessity in always being on the move, never being a still target here on Sanhok. And teams are still trying to figure that out. The meta still somewhat developing here for Sanhok as we also hone in on some feedback on settings, etc. Approaching the 3-minute mark of this game, we will be checking in with the Istanbul Wildcats. Once again, we spotted them heading to that primary loot location, that static drop for them, which has been uncontested through the entirety of this tournament, except for maybe a little bit of pressure on day number 1. But that was quickly pushed off, and the Istanbul Wildcats claim dominantly probably one of the uncontested best positions on the map outside of Pynon, given its centrality at the early stages of this game. Over here in the Paradise Resort, the Tony team, another squad that has a fairly good position, high loot capabilities here, which means fast rotations as well. Going to be uncontested for this squad. And they're going to be pushing up towards the north. This phase is working in favor of the Tony team, a chat favorite. Seeing a lot of support for that squad, which leads me into my next point. Chat, if you guys have a team or a player or both that you're here to support, make sure to throw that support in chat. You can spam emotes, you can spam hashtags, you name it. Whatever you want to do to show up and help channel some energy into your favorite teams or players. That is the name of the game. Love to have you guys here. Hawk still trying to work his way off of this position where he found himself at the far north, split off from the rest of his squad. Will be making a run for it, spotted out very easily. Maybe the easiest kill in game number 1, unfortunately, outside of that Royalty. That's going to be our first action first blood. Out goes Hawk. An unfortunate ending as we check into the other members of the Brute Force squad. Brute Force down in Sammy on the far southwestern end of Sanhok is definitely a polarized position from where we saw Hawk. So that is unfortunate to see. Level going to be repositioning themselves off of Pynon as they approach into the southern side of phase number 1. 2 minutes and 45 seconds on the board. As this phase continues to close out, teams will start to put those rotations into effect. And given the far northeastern position that we see in this circle, I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of early game chaos. Not necessarily what we're going to be expecting around the 15-minute mark of the game, but I wouldn't be surprised to see at least some. Level rolling right into the members of the ADR for whoa! Level gets a double knock on the Flamyy and Anonymous with the vehicle and is going to come in with a flush as well. However, they are returned on drastically massive trades coming out for the members of ADR, who all but flush out the entirety of Level here in 16th place position. Holy cow, that was a hell of a way to crash into a compound. It started off very good, but unfortunately, that exposed position did not pay off. Members of Boris going to be in the blue zone, trying to work their way out of this position right now. Not looking too easy for them to be able to do so, but they will have to face off against another northern shift here in phase number 2, where many teams have already secured dominant positions off of those phase 1 rotations. You see Hakkapeliittas making a very wide transition off of the far western edge. will be utilizing boats to try to do so. And still trying to work their way in that direction. Brute Force, with one member down, will be transitioning up here towards the north. Going to be riding the edge of the blue zone as it works its way in with 40 seconds remaining on the clock. Fight Club also makes that transition, entering into the southeastern side. Right next to the members of the Preachers. They've got the high ground position, which gives them the opportunity to have the upper hand here in this engagement, should they be able to spot out the Preachers. HaKoHe going to be holding on to the bridge. Looking over here towards the east, not scouting anything out, but moving tactfully, rather. As phase number 1 does close out. Crate going to be separating at least a few different squads right now. It's likely going to be spotted out by multiple teams when that did drop from the sky. However, no one has pushed over towards it just yet. A Fight Club continue on that trajectory up here towards the north. They'll likely want to run across it, and they will have to continue based off of this next shift. Up here towards Tatmok and Cow is where the circle is going to be centered. Spray coming down and out from the members of Intruders, who spot out Hakkapeliittas. Down goes staXx, down goes Patrick, and a massive explosion out in the water. The crate will be found by the members of Fight Club as they continue to push up here towards the north. Those pilots going to be under siege right now by the ADR farmers, or at least what's left of the ADR farmers after Triquo and Myca had a bit of a compound crash from the level squad. They were able to pick up 4 kills off of it, so it ended up playing out in favor for them. A 2v4 trade isn't necessarily a bad thing. However, I think on Sanhok, you really want to try to favor as many members alive on your squad as possible, given the necessity of multiple sets of eyes here in the late game to protect against third-party and fourth-party flanks. HaKoHe going to be under fire from the Istanbul Wildcats, who claim a kill on top of Lazy, trying to get his way down the hillside. Will be fully exposed and taken out because of it. Royalty holding on to their primary loot location, which has been favored by the circle for the better part of about 10 minutes now. We'll be facing off against a little bit of pressure coming from the Tony team, who have pushed into the compound lying on the southern edge of Cow. HaKoHe's 3 remaining members will continue to clash with the Intruders, who had just picked up a nice set of kills onto Hakkapeliittas out in the ocean. And Stellar is going to be moving inside of the Paradise Resort for right now. Not a bad position for them to hold on to on the southern side of the circle as things continue to progress here inside of this game, to see if they don't get a phase 3 shift down here towards the south and be able to kind of maintain and defend off of the spot. Another crate does drop on the ground, and it's going to be right in front of the members of Fight Club once again, coming off of this far southeastern angle. This is going to be their second crate picked up, and about a 2-minute spread. So those level 3 kits are going to be incredibly important here for those squads. Those level 3 helmets going to be paying off in spades here for that Fight Club squad. Again, as we started off the day, we talked about Fight Club and how aggressive they have been. One of the teams currently tied in first place for kill leaders on those squads. Fight breaks out here. Pluto of CrazyCrew is going to be able to find the first knock onto the Preachers. You name it goes down. And STaravillo is there to find the flush. First kill point picked up for Crazy. 2 down for the Preachers. Nades coming in as the flank comes in huge. Legendary somehow able to maintain his HP, surviving with about 10% of it. As another knock does come out. Major going to be going down and out. Now 1 left on their feet here for the members of the Preachers, who have been absolutely dismantled by the CrazyCrew here in the eastern side of phase number 3. Spray down comes in as Legendary tries to mount a bit of a defense here. A final stand in the face of being eliminated, but out they go in 15th place position at the hands of the CrazyCrew. And continuing on, the east is not going to be held dominantly just yet. Boris moves in off of this chaos to the north. As a fight erupts down to the south, it's going to be Fight Club pushing up here. They felt the pressure. They heard it off in the distance, and they know that here on Sanhok, where you hear a fight, you can track it to the kill feed, you will likely be able to come up with a massive advantage. Base shift does come out. A hard shift down here to the southeast will be favoring that eastern position we were previously watching. CrazyCrew not going to have to move off of that. Boris, just a slight reposition over towards the west, and then Fight Club going to be safe as well. A lot of adjustments will be coming in from the western side of the map. But for now, everyone trying to find at least a spot to remain comfortable for the next few minutes before the rumble in the jungle, that pretty much that outbreak moment here on the map kicks off. Brute Force working with 3 alive still after they lost one of their members early on. Hawk will be finding a knockdown off here towards the north as they continue to push their way up off the western edge of Paradise Resort. They've got to be very careful. Stellar has been rather quiet on the northern side of the Paradise Resort as well, but here the commotion being caused by Brute Force off to the west, pushing over to investigate. You can see pretty much all guns of Stellar trained in that direction to spray down onto any of the members of that squad should they see them. Milta Power, haven't checked in with them so far here in this game. We'll still be alive as we quickly shift off of them. The Intruders, a squad that had to make that transition from the west over to the east, will be riding the blue zone in, trying to hug the edge, eliminate a flank, and then sweep out that southern angle if they're going to be able to do so. Nade's going to be coming in, raining in huge, and connecting will be Moleman on top of AmerouuS. Again, AmerouuS, one of the kill leaders here in the lobby for stage number 2 so far, unfortunately will be tagged down and out. Next shift will be coming out, and it's Milta Power inside of the compound at the crossroads that stands to pretty much gain the most out of this shift. Every other team going to either be outside of the circle or having to ride the edge of this next phase, which spells disaster for the teams on the previous circle's edge. They're going to be pushing into an already guarded, already gate-kept phase number 4 circle. ADR farmers, having lost Myca, will be left with Triquo to try to maintain some sort of presence here in the game. They picked up the 3 kills on to level to start it off, but unfortunately will not be able to continue on. Faced off against the other team tied with them for kill leaders here in stage number 2, it's going to be Fight Club that come up with the elimination and surely do pass the ADR farmers in kills for stage number 2 at this juncture. Stellar, rotating off of the Paradise Resort, will be trying to push up, but it's Dose Pilots that end up being spotted across the wide open road, will be scouted out by Fight Club, who is able to find some nice shots placed on top of this squad. Down goes one. Pola and Lipsin going to be holding on to the shack while Rita was able to make their way across the road. So Rita could be the impact player for this Dose Pilot squad. I don't believe that Fight Club is going to have expected that cross to have been put into effect, at least successfully. HaKoHe rotating around the northwestern side of the circle with one of the largest rotations to have to make at this point in time. And they're going to be one of those teams that we talked about with a very unfortunate ending, but one of those teams that had to rotate in the face of teams already holding on to those edge positions on the next circle. The blue zone damage was too much. Combo that with a few shots coming in as well, and both players were knocked off of that bike, and HaKoHe eliminated out of match number 1 of the day. Match number 9, more gunshot pops off here as Boris spots out Hakkapeliittas' Pikzen, trying to hold on here. I believe 2 players of this Hakkapeliittas squad left alive after we lost 2 in the boat explosions at around the 5-minute mark. Celis here for Stellar going to be popping off as well. Rita does go down, and now that's the player of Dose Pilots that we had seen cross the roadside. But as this engagement pops off, another team has moved in. Brute Force We also saw a fourth squad now looming on the horizon. It's going to be Fight Club with all 4 members alive and not really stuck in the fray yet. They're the only team not engaged, and they stand to pretty much referee it all. We'll see if the third party does come out. Bottom right-hand corner of your screen is going to be the Intruders trying to push into Tony team. Saban able to kick it off with a QBU knockdown onto Mkaelovich. However, a trade back comes out. Nailcop with a nice frag grenade onto Feberino. 1 down for both of these squads as each tries to maneuver on what is now going to be outside of the zone. Brute Force goes down and out in the kill feed. Nailcop going to be dropped down as well as the third party comes out. Stellar from the south flank and is able to find a capitalizing shot. Flamyy with the SLR headshot rings true, and down goes Nailcop. Intruders still going to be worrying about trying to get Mkaelovich up. Are able to do so, so remain 3 pairs of boots on the ground in the face of many obstacles lying ahead of them. Rekorder is able to spot out 1 member of the Tony team. Blacklight goes down. A knock inside of the structure, but with the blue zone getting ready to push in here very shortly and starting to move in as we speak. Tony team doesn't have much time to work off of. Saban just about 10 meters down the hillside from where Royalty is pushing up. Has to try to mount a very epic last stand here, but certainly is in a position to do so with frag grenades coming out to give him some forward pressure. He pushes off the backside of it, is not able to find anything, and down goes Saban. Down goes the Tony team in 11th place position. Royalty continues on here after suffering what some might consider a very tilting moment to start the game off. They've been able to recover off of that and keep their heads on track. They know what they have to effectuate here in this game. I believe Royalty is one of the squads that sits very low on the leaderboards, so they need to make a big stride here in the final 2 days. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. Royalty is certainly within contention of breaking into the top 9 should they have an epic last 2 days. Gifted Fight Club pushing up here with the Groza spray down is able to find a connection onto BSD, one of the more powerful members that has displayed their skill here in stage 2 for the Istanbul Wildcats. But Istanbul Wildcats are engaged with another squad. Genzo, as you see, dropping nades on top of Murfle and the rest of Intruders. You have to wonder how spread are the Istanbul Wildcats going to be here with 3 teams now pushing up from the south. It's going to be a very, very chaotic shift now. Istanbul Wildcats continue to lose members. Intruders going to be pushing up as well. ZorF with the M249. Keep in mind, guys, Fight Club was able to pick up 2 crates. They've got 2 full level 3 kits, as well as very powerful guns to boot. Going to be spraying off in this direction. Stellar goes down and out. It's going to be Celis out of the game. They've got Jombaway, the remaining player of Stellar, hiding behind a rock. If he can force this engagement or just kind of outlast the members of Intruders, who are still going to be pushing in onto the presence of the Istanbul Wildcats, as well as Fight Club, then it could be good, but definitely not where you want to be. It's going to be a clinch moment for John Boy. Approaching the 20-minute mark of this game, Hakkapeliittas not going to be going down and out without a bit of a fight here. ZorF for Fight Club does spot out that remaining member of Stellar. Out they go in 9th place position with John Boy dropping out of the game. CrazyCrew under fire. Fight Club just continues to be extremely dominant here in this game. They're keeping their heads on a swivel. They're pretty much running the lobby as if they're the puppet masters. They haven't had any real contest just yet. It could be a product of many factors. I think definitely the crates playing a huge role in the success they've been able to find so far in this match. Apocalypse for Istanbul Wildcats does hear or spot out the presence of the Intruders, sprays them down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, but also a fight breaking up here on your main feed. It's going to be Boris putting up a massive last stand here, trying to stay alive. They got 2, weren't able to find the 3rd. And CrazyCrew does end up finding the elimination at 8th place. Out go the Istanbul Wildcats right thereafter in 7th place position. And the Intruders are under siege as well. CrazyCrew drops out. Teams are dropping like flies. We've only got 4 teams now remaining. I believe that was 5 teams dropping out in the matter of about 20 seconds, which is pretty much true to Sanhok. It's the craziest map that we've seen here in competitive PUBG, where things can shift in just a matter of a few seconds. Fight Club remains strong here on the southern side of this next phase. All 4 members alive, pushing up to the compound, where one of the members of Milta Power has remained split. They're the only other squad left on the map with 4 alive and are going to be the main opponent for Fight Club to have to deal with. Hakkapeliittas going to be spotted out. Will be going down to the blue zone. and Royalty under massive fire as well. 3 teams remain. Roaring going to be spotted out. Mage Main able to flush out the kill onto Infection, and with a few shots coming out from Fight Club, the QBU rings true, and down goes Royalty. Now just going to be that final 2-team engagement where Fight Club is already coming up with massive kills. Ewan going to be spotted and flushed out of the southern side of the circle. He was that solo player playing off from the rest of the team. Fine pushed over as well, though. Going to be undetected for right now as the members of Fight Club continue to push in. Corner play going to be in full effect. Not able to find a flush and will be taken down themselves. Now going to leave 2 members remaining. Guess who's going to be dropped down? Fight Club look to close this game out in high fashion at the 22-minute mark of the match. A beautiful display of both aggression and strategy coming in for Fight Club here in this match. This is a team I believe rolling into today. They were sitting in second place position. Surely this game is going to propel them massively as they pick up the chicken dinner. 16 kills, our highest kill count so far here in stage number 2. A 26-point game coming in for the members of Fight Club. Absolutely epic performance for that team. I mean, to come in on the day in second place position and to be able to put up that type of performance, it's somewhat demoralizing to at least a few of these squads who are trying to climb up, trying to breach in for essentially just pride into the top position of the stage. Top 9 is where you want to be at the end of day number 4. That was match number 9, though, played out as we break into the second half of this tournament. A few replays of how this game went through before we break into the final 3 matches of the day. Miramar going to be coming up next. The Desert implicated. And then 2 rounds of Erangel to cap off the day. A double helping to serve it all. This was a tough engagement right here with Brute Force moving in onto Dos Pilots. We had 4 teams, almost 5, push into that area of the map and put pressure on it. And it wasn't really easy for them to work off of. Royalty having a fairly good game again, suffering a pretty dramatic loss at the beginning of the game, but then coming off of it and able to pick up a few points before going out. Fight Club, though, it was really just their game. That's the only story that is really worthy of being told here, and it was a crazy story at that. I felt like at every juncture of the game, from phase 1 onwards to the conclusion, Fight Club was in a fight, literally. They picked up 16 kills, and where they previously sat, I believe at 40, I think it was 47 kills is what they had been able to pick up. Yeah, there was no replay of the Royalty member dying at the beginning. No replay of that. But yeah, so 47 kills, I believe, is what Fight Club had coming into today. Able to get 16 kills right there. That's literally a third of their kills picked up in one game. Here are your leaderboards just from this match. You can see no one even close to Fight Club in terms of points. They absolutely ran this game. It was really no question. Really no question at all. A lot of teams walking away with 8 points. It's going to be Melt the Power, Royalty, Intruders, and CrazyCrew. Necessary points for Royalty. But the question remains, will it be enough? Fight Club definitely answering the question for their team. Yes, it is enough to absolutely put them in first place. As we continue to look, though, at some of the stats from the 9th match of stage number 2. 500 damage going to be put out by a circle of Fight Club. I mean, it's all 4 members of Fight Club in the top 5. 4 out of 5. Top 5 for damage. So that just goes to show you how much of an effort all 4 members individually of that squad were pulling their weight in that match. Also, no surprise here. Damage usually translates into kills, and here it certainly did. For Fight Club in particular, Melt to Power, you stack them up, your second place team versus Fight Club. 2 kills. 2 kills. A lot of ADR, though. You can see, that 2 kill stat isn't really indicative of the impact that Melt to Power had in that game. Able to hold on to that centralized position in the late game circles inside of the compound was incredibly huge for them. They were able to just look out of the windows, hold the cover, and pick apart teams. Just unfortunately, weren't able to close out on those kills. Your leaderboards as they stand, rolling into match number 10 coming up next. Fight Club, there they are, 20 points ahead of second place now. A little bit of separation coming out off of the heels of a massive performance for that squad. Istanbul Wildcats dropping down to second place position with 78 points. Tony team in third with 69 points, ADR Farmers in fourth with 68, and Stellar in fifth with 62. As we go down the leaderboards, though, that 9th place cutoff is where we want to be, or where these squads at least want to be, on the proper side of it and not in the lower part. So make sure to hang out, guys. We've got our next game coming up, match number 10 of Stage 2, in about 5 to 10 minutes. These games go by pretty quick. The schedule is fast-paced, just like the action, just like the gameplay here in the PELC promos. Stay tuned. More PUBG coming up.